Let's go back to Gillian Pillay now at the Methodist Church in Johannesburg, where a police raid is underway. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, details are very vague at the moment. Gillian, what can you tell us about what's happening there at the moment?
There's been a series of crime prevention operations in the CBD of Johannesburg. A short while ago, we're no longer at the Central Methodist Church. We're now in a street called N Street, where police operations have targeted these abandoned buildings where there's occupancy. A short while ago, scores of foreign nationals were loaded into a police van to verify their home affairs status, and these are the kinds of operations that are taking place in light of the xenophobic attacks that we saw playing out in KZN and in Johannesburg a few weeks ago. Just to give us some sort of sense about the operations underway here in the CBD, I'm now joined by the SAPS's Lieutenant Colonel Mokhale. Lieutenant, just give us a sense of these operations that kicked off this morning, that's been ongoing.
This ongoing operation started in the Johannesburg cluster this morning at about 2 o'clock. We had 3 groups that descended upon the CBD all at once. We had the other people on the south side of the CBD, and now we are here at N Street. Thus far, over 400 people have been taken to the Johannesburg Central Police Station to verify their status. And through the operation, there was a body that was found in one of the buildings here downtown. Thus far, it is unknown as to who is the person that died, but we suspect that he might have been killed somewhere and dumped in that building.
What's the thinking behind these ongoing operations?
The focus on the operations, we are focusing on these buildings that are dilapidated and have questionable occupancy, and we have had information in the past where criminal activity has actually taken place in those buildings.
Any links, like I said earlier, xenophobic attacks? You trying to just keep it to curb any further outbreaks of xenophobic attacks?
That is part of the operation. We're trying to verify everybody that is within the Johannesburg cluster, so that we do not have spring-ups of such incidences.
That was Lieutenant Colonel Mokhale giving us a sense about the operations here underway here in the CBD, where foreign nationals are being checked for the asylum seeker status, police just rounding them out, taking them to Home Affairs so that all those details can be verified. Back to the studio in Johannesburg.
Gillian, if I may just interject there and ask, we're seeing members of the SANDF alongside members of the SAPS in previous raids, such as the ones that we saw in Alex and the ones at the hostel recently. We were told that members of the SANDF were providing a barricade, that they themselves were not involved in searches, in arrests, etc. Is that similar to what we're seeing today? We're seeing members of the SANDF quite close to the situation there. What's happening with regard to that?
What we're seeing is that the SANDF is bolstering these operations, providing like a buffer in terms of protection with the JMPD together with the SAPS. It's various departments who are involved in these operations. So it's not one particular group of people. But yes, as you're saying there, rightly so, Ayanda, the SANDF definitely part of these operations, providing a buffer. Remember, with the xenophobic attacks, they were brought in. So it was said by the government that they would remain in these hotspots, and they are working hand in glove with the SAPS. Ayanda.
Judging by what is happening on Twitter, it seems as if even the media was caught off guard, that previously police officers welcomed us and invited us, in fact, to tell us that they're doing these raids, that we ought to come along and see what's happening. This morning, we were seemingly caught unaware, and I'm not just speaking about the SABC, it seems many media organizations.
No, you're right. You said it quite correctly, Ayanda. We were caught quite off guard. It wasn't like come along media, come see what we're doing, as days after the xenophobic attacks in the hostels that were targeted by the authorities. It was a very low-key operation, low-key crime operations, the police working with the departments, just doing their own thing. So yes, we were caught off guard, but we did get some wind of these operations and rush to these scenes, just to give you, our viewers, a sense of the police, working behind the scenes, trying to, verify the details of foreign nationals so that we don't see a recurrence of what's happened in the past weeks with the xenophobic attacks, like we saw in KZN, like we saw in Jeppe, here in the CBD of Johannesburg, Ayanda.
All right, let's leave it there, at least for now. Thank you so much for that update. Gillian will continue to catch up with you a little bit later here on Channel 404 DSTV, just for an update on what's happening on the ground. All right.